Chapter 1. Awareness. See the trap before it catches you. Every day your brain is being trained, whether you realize it or not. Every time you reach for your phone without thinking, every time you scroll without purpose, every time you check messages in the middle of a task, your brain learns distraction. It learns chaos. It learns to wander. You think you are in control, but most days your focus belongs to the world around you. You are reacting to everything instead of directing anything. The trap is invisible because it feels normal. But the moment you open your eyes to it, you begin to take your power back. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. You cannot fix what you refuse to see. The truth is simple. You are not distracted because you are weak. You are distracted because you are surrounded by systems designed to steal your attention. Companies spend billions engineering ways to make you look, click, scroll, repeat. Your brain is wired to seek stimulation, to chase novelty, to look for the next thing. Every ping rewards you with a small hit of dopamine. It feels harmless, but over time, that harmless habit becomes a dependency. Your focus gets fractured into 1,000 pieces. Look around you. Every billboard, every headline, every vibration in your pocket is a hook. The world has learned how to control your impulses better than you have. And if you do not reclaim that control, you will never experience true freedom. Because freedom is not about doing what you want. Freedom is about being able to direct your mind where you choose. Most people cannot go 5 minutes without reaching for something that distracts them. That is not freedom. That is slavery disguised as entertainment. The trap of distraction does not announce itself. It whispers. It seduces. It disguises itself as relaxation, as connection, as staying informed. You tell yourself you are just taking a quick break, but that break becomes 30 minutes of mental drift. You tell yourself you are checking one thing, but that one thing turns into 10. The trap works because it does not feel like a trap. It feels like comfort. But comfort kills growth. Comfort dulls awareness. Comfort convinces you that everything is fine, while your potential slowly fades into noise. You must start observing yourself with brutal honesty. Watch how many times your attention gets pulled away in an hour. Watch how often you react instead of respond. Watch how quickly you lose track of what matters. This is not judgment. This is data. Self-awareness is not about guilt. It is about information. Once you see the patterns clearly, you can begin to change them. The mind cannot master what it denies. When you catch yourself reaching for your phone in the middle of deep work, pause. Ask yourself, what am I escaping right now? Maybe it is boredom. Maybe it is discomfort. Maybe it is fear of not performing well. Awareness turns distraction into choice. Every time you notice the urge, you are teaching your brain a new lesson. I see the impulse, but I do not have to obey it. This is the beginning of training your mind. Distraction thrives in blindness. The less you notice, the stronger it gets. But once the light of awareness hits it, it begins to shrink. You cannot eliminate distraction in one day, but you can weaken its hold every time you notice it. Awareness is the first line of defense. It is also the foundation of focus. Without awareness, discipline collapses. Without awareness, consistency fades. Awareness is what separates the person who reacts from the person who creates. Think about how a master craftsman works. Every movement is intentional. Every breath is measured. The outside world may be loud, but inside the workshop there is precision, presence, purpose. You can build that same level of awareness within your own mind. It begins by slowing down long enough to notice what is happening inside you. Notice the pull. Notice the craving for stimulation. Notice the voice that says, just one quick check. When you can see the distraction forming before it takes hold, you can choose differently. That is real power. There is no progress without awareness. You cannot focus on what you do not value. And you cannot value what you do not notice. Awareness trains your brain to see clearly again. It sharpens your internal lens. You start noticing the difference between urgent and important. You start feeling the cost of every unnecessary interruption. You begin to understand that attention is not free. Every distraction you pay into the world is an investment you will never get back. Ask yourself right now, how much time have you given away today? How many minutes have been spent feeding distractions instead of building something real? Awareness hurts at first because it forces you to face truth. But that pain is cleansing. It burns away the lies you have told yourself about why you are not where you want to be. It strips away excuses. It leaves you standing eye to eye with responsibility. And that is where transformation begins. Awareness does not just reveal the problem. It gives you control over the solution. Once you see clearly, you can act consciously. You can start building systems that support focus instead of destroy it. You can start designing your environment instead of being controlled by it. You can start saying no without guilt. You can start protecting your mind like it matters, because it does. The mind builds your entire life. If you let the world run it for you, you lose everything that makes you unique. This chapter is about waking up. Waking up from the fog of distraction that has kept you busy but not fulfilled, connected but not present, informed but not wise. It is about remembering that your brain is a tool, not a toy. It is about taking back authorship of your attention. The world will not slow down for you. The noise will not stop. The only way out is through awareness. Every time you catch yourself drifting, bring your attention back. Every time you notice your mind wandering, celebrate that you noticed. That moment of noticing is victory. It means your awareness is alive. Over time, awareness becomes your anchor. It keeps you steady in the middle of storms. It reminds you that focus is not something you find. It is something you build, one moment at a time. You will not become perfectly focused overnight. That is not the goal. The goal is to become so aware that distraction loses its power over you. Awareness turns chaos into clarity. It turns confusion into choice. It turns reaction into response. The person who sees clearly is unstoppable because nothing can control them without permission. As you move forward, remember this truth. You are not your thoughts. You are not your impulses. You are the awareness behind them. You are the watcher, not the noise. Every moment you practice seeing without reacting, you build strength. Every moment you choose presence over distraction, you retrain your brain for mastery. The trap only works when you forget you are in it. Awareness breaks the spell. Awareness is freedom. Awareness is the first victory in the war for your focus. And from this moment on, you are no longer blind. You see the trap. You see the hooks. You see the price of letting them win. From now on, you choose clarity. You choose control. You choose awareness. Chapter 2, Reclaiming Mental Ownership. You do not own your attention until you take it back from the world. Every morning, most people give it away before they even leave their bed. They reach for their phone. They scroll through noise. They start the day reacting instead of leading. Their minds are not theirs anymore. They belong to whoever can shout the loudest, whoever can trigger emotion the fastest. But your mind is sacred territory. It is not a playground for other people's ideas. It is the space where your future is built. And if you do not protect it, someone else will use it for their gain while you lose years of your life wondering why you feel empty. Reclaiming mental ownership begins with one decision. The decision that your time, your focus, your peace, your energy are not for sale. You stop being available to every notification, every distraction, every digital demand. You stop reacting to life and start designing it. When you take back your attention, you take back your direction. Focus becomes intentional. Thought becomes power. The moment you realize your mind is your most valuable property, you begin to treat it differently. You stop letting just anyone walk through it with muddy shoes. You must understand how much control you have given away without realizing it. Every app, every advertisement, every feed is designed to keep you scrolling. They are not giving you information. They are feeding on your attention. They study your behavior to hold your focus hostage. The more time you give them, the less time you have for yourself. The less space you have for creativity, for peace, for deep thinking. The cost of distraction is not measured in minutes. It is measured in potential. Every moment you give to meaningless noise is a moment stolen from what you could have built. Taking back ownership starts with awareness, but it grows with boundaries. Boundaries are not restrictions. They are declarations of worth. They tell the world that your time matters. You must learn to say no without apology. No to unnecessary conversations that drain your energy. No to obligations that serve nothing but guilt. No to endless scrolling that feeds you junk and starves your mind. Every no is a yes to clarity. Every no is a yes to your future. When you stop scattering your attention across 100 empty spaces, you finally have enough energy to build something meaningful. You must also redefine what productivity means. Being busy is not the same as being focused. The world glorifies motion, but motion without direction is chaos. You can spend all day working on things that do not move you forward. True ownership means choosing what deserves your energy and ignoring what does not. It means asking yourself, is this task building me or breaking me? If it does not align with your vision, it does not deserve your attention. The greatest achievers are not the ones who do the most. They are the ones who protect their focus, like their life depends on it. The hardest part of reclaiming your mind is breaking the addiction to external validation. We live in a world that rewards reaction. Post something, check the likes, feel a hit of satisfaction. But that satisfaction is empty. It fades quickly, leaving you hungry for more. The world teaches you to measure your worth through attention, but that attention is never yours. It belongs to people who will forget you tomorrow. You must stop feeding your self-esteem with external approval. Confidence built on reaction will always crumble. Confidence built on ownership will never fade. Start by taking control of your mornings. Before you give your attention to the world, give it to yourself. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Breathe. Write your intentions. Choose your focus. Tell your mind where it will go before the world tells it where to wander. You cannot lead your day if you begin it following everyone else. The first hour of your morning sets the tone for your entire day. Make it sacred. Make it yours. Reclaiming mental ownership is not a one-time decision. It is a daily practice. You will be tested every day. The world will tempt you with novelty, urgency, and fear of missing out. Every time you resist, you grow stronger. Every time you choose to stay focused on what matters, you remind your brain that you are in control. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You begin to notice distractions before they steal your energy. You begin to sense when your focus is slipping and pull it back. You begin to live with clarity again. There is power in living intentionally. Most people live on autopilot, repeating habits they never chose. They are reactive, waiting for something to happen, waiting for permission, waiting for motivation. You cannot afford to wait. Ownership means you take initiative. You decide how your mind will operate. You design systems that support your goals. You eliminate what weakens you. You train your brain to serve your purpose, not the world's agenda. When you take responsibility for your focus, you also take responsibility for your results. That is freedom. That is power. Your environment must reflect your decision. If you want clarity, create space for it. Clean your workspace. Remove clutter. Keep only what adds value to your mission. Create visual cues that remind you to stay focused. Silence notifications. Limit inputs. Protect your attention like a guardian standing at the gate of your mind. Ask yourself every day, does this deserve space in my head? If the answer is no, it does not belong there. Reclaiming your mind will not be easy. It will feel uncomfortable at first. You will feel restless without constant stimulation. You will crave the noise you are trying to escape. That is normal. It is your brain adjusting to silence again. Stay with it. The discomfort is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of detox. You are breaking the addiction to distraction. You are rewiring your reward system to value peace over chaos, depth over novelty, intention over impulse. As the days pass, you will notice something powerful. Your mind will start to slow down. Thoughts will become clearer. Tasks that once felt overwhelming will feel simple. Conversations will feel deeper. You will begin to see how much mental energy you wasted before. You will begin to understand that focus is not just about productivity. It is about presence. When you are fully present, even simple actions carry power. When your attention is whole, your life feels whole. The more you reclaim your attention, the more you realize how much of your life has been shaped by distraction. Every choice, every emotion, every regret, tied to moments when you were not truly there. Ownership means being awake again. It means noticing the beauty of stillness. It means hearing your own thoughts clearly enough to trust them. When your mind belongs to you, peace follows. Creativity follows. Confidence follows. You cannot control the noise of the world, but you can control whether it gets inside you. You cannot stop the chaos, but you can decide where your mind lives within it. Ownership is not about isolation. It is about direction. It is about knowing that your attention is the steering wheel of your life. Wherever it goes, your future follows. From this moment forward, remind yourself daily, your mind is not for rent. It does not belong to distraction, to opinions, to fear, to pressure. It belongs to you. Guard it. Feed it with clarity. Fill it with purpose. Train it with focus. When you own your mind, nothing can own you. The world can shout, but you will not listen. The world can pull, but you will not move. Because your attention is no longer lost. It is no longer scattered. It is yours, fully, completely, intentionally yours. Chapter 3. Build the fortress. Protect your mental space. Your mind is your kingdom, but most people leave the gates wide open. They allow noise, negativity, and distraction to walk in uninvited. They let the opinions of others live rent-free in their head. They leave their focus exposed, vulnerable to the constant demands of a noisy world. You cannot train your brain to focus if you never protect the space it needs to think. Every fortress begins with a wall, and that wall is built from boundaries. Without boundaries, your attention leaks into everything around you. With them, you create the conditions for clarity, calm, and control. Building your mental fortress is not about isolation. It is about intention. It is about creating an environment that supports who you want to become instead of pulling you back into who you were. You cannot grow in chaos. You cannot think clearly in constant noise. You cannot stay centered when your mind is constantly reacting. The fortress is not a cage. It is protection. It gives your focus a home, a place where it can strengthen without being interrupted every few seconds by the world's endless demands. Look at the spaces where you spend your time. Look at the places where your attention disappears. Your environment either feeds your focus or starves it. When your space is cluttered, your mind becomes cluttered. When your phone is always within reach, your thoughts never go deep. The first step in building your fortress is cleansing your environment. Remove the unnecessary. Clean the surfaces around you. Simplify. Every object in your space carries energy. Every item you see reminds your brain of something to do, something to think about, something unfinished. Minimalism is not a design choice. It is a mental strategy. The fewer distractions you see, the fewer distractions your brain must process. After you clean your physical space, you must clean your digital space. Your phone and computer are the main gates through which distraction enters your mind. Every notification, every vibration, every sound is a soldier of interruption. You cannot keep training your focus while allowing the enemy to ring the bell every 5 minutes. Turn off notifications that do not matter. Unfollow accounts that do not inspire or educate you. Mute group chats that offer noise but no value. Delete the apps that you know steal your time. You will feel an immediate discomfort when you do this. That discomfort is withdrawal. It is your mind craving the constant stimulation it has been addicted to. Stay with it. It will pass. What replaces it is peace. The next layer of your fortress is protecting your time. People talk about time management, but what they really mean is attention management. You can have 8 hours of free time and still accomplish nothing if your focus is scattered. Protecting your time means deciding in advance what matters most and giving it a sacred space in your day. Schedule time for deep work. Schedule time for reflection. Schedule time for rest. And when that time arrives, treat it as unbreakable. No messages, no multitasking, no exceptions. When you respect your schedule, you teach your mind that focus is non-negotiable. Over time, your brain begins to associate certain hours with deep concentration. It becomes natural, even automatic. A strong fortress is not only built from walls, but from rituals. Rituals give your mind structure. They create rhythm, predictability, and security. Start your morning with a routine that clears mental clutter before the world can add to it. Sit in silence. Breathe deeply. Set your intention. Write down the 3 most important tasks of the day. When your day begins with clarity, distractions have less room to take root. Create evening rituals as well. Reflect on your progress. Acknowledge your focus wins. Learn from your distractions without guilt. Every ritual you practice becomes a brick in your fortress. The people you allow into your life are also part of your environment. They can either strengthen or weaken your mental walls. Be mindful of the energy they bring. Some people thrive on drama, gossip, and negativity. They drain your focus because they pull your attention into problems that are not yours to solve. You cannot afford to let that energy live in your mind. Protect your peace. Surround yourself with those who respect your focus, who inspire discipline, who talk about ideas rather than people. Energy is contagious. Proximity is power. Choose carefully who gets to stand within your walls. Your mental fortress must also protect your emotions. Emotional clutter is just as dangerous as digital clutter. Anger, envy, resentment, and fear occupy mental space that could be used for creativity, learning, and growth. You cannot think clearly when your emotions are storming through your mind unchecked. The key is not suppression, but observation. When you feel strong emotion, pause. Observe it like a passing cloud. Do not feed it with stories or reactions. Let it move through you. This simple act of awareness clears your inner space. Emotional control is a vital part of the fortress. It keeps the inside calm even when the outside world is in chaos. As you build your fortress, you will notice how much quieter your mind becomes. You will start to hear your own thoughts again. You will begin to feel more centered. The noise will still exist, but it will no longer have power over you. You will be able to walk through chaos without absorbing it. That is the purpose of the fortress. It is not to escape life, but to move through it with strength. The world does not get easier, but your focus becomes harder to break. One of the biggest lies of modern life is that multitasking makes you efficient. In reality, it fractures your brain's ability to concentrate. Your mind performs best when it is fully engaged with one thing at a time. Inside your fortress, multitasking is not allowed. You do one thing fully with presence. Whether you are working, reading, exercising, or resting, give it your entire attention. Presence is power. When you train your mind to give its full energy to one task, you multiply your effectiveness. Every moment of full attention builds your focus muscles stronger than hours of distracted effort. Protecting your mental space also means protecting your energy from unnecessary input. You do not need to consume every piece of information available. Most of it is noise disguised as knowledge. Be selective about what you let in. Read deeply instead of widely. Listen to ideas that challenge you instead of confirm you. Guard your curiosity. Feed your mind with quality, not quantity. Information is fuel, but too much of it creates confusion. Keep your inputs clean, clear, and aligned with your growth. The fortress you are building is not made of walls or silence alone. It is made of self-respect. Every boundary you set, every notification you silence, every hour you protect is an act of self-respect. You're telling the world that your mind is not a public space. It is your temple. It deserves to be treated as such. The more you honor that space, the more powerful your focus becomes. When the noise outside grows louder, you will stay calm inside your walls. When distractions try to invade, you will see them coming. When others lose themselves in chaos, you will move with purpose. This is the power of building your mental fortress. It does not make life quieter. It makes you stronger. It makes your attention unshakable. Remember, the goal is not to avoid the world. The goal is to master your relationship with it. You will still engage, still create, still connect, but from a place of control, not reaction. The fortress gives you that control. It is your sacred ground, your mental sanctuary. From inside it, you can focus, you can grow, you can build. From this day forward, guard your mental space with the seriousness it deserves. The world will always try to enter. The noise will always try to break through. But you have the power to choose what stays and what leaves. Your mind is your kingdom. Protect it with intention. Live within it with clarity. And let every thought that crosses its walls serve your highest purpose. Chapter 4. Rewire the reward system. The human brain is a seeker of rewards. It was built to chase what feels good and avoid what feels hard. That instinct kept our ancestors alive, but in the modern world, it keeps most people trapped. Every time your phone lights up, every time you refresh a feed, every time you get a like or a message, your brain releases a drop of dopamine. It is a tiny hit of pleasure, and your mind begins to crave it again. The more often you feed it, the more often it demands to be fed. You are not addicted to your phone. You are addicted to the feeling of being stimulated. The habit looks harmless, but over time it rewires your brain to crave instant satisfaction and reject effort. The truth is not that you lack discipline. The truth is that your brain has been trained to find pleasure in the wrong places. You have been conditioned to look for quick wins instead of lasting results. Distraction feels better than focus because the reward comes instantly. When you scroll, you get novelty. When you check notifications, you get validation. When you multitask, you get the illusion of progress. But focus offers no immediate reward. Focus asks for patience. It asks for discomfort. It asks you to sit with silence long enough to do something real. The mind resists that because it has forgotten how to feel satisfaction in effort. That is what must be rewired. To rewire your reward system, you must first understand it. Dopamine is not evil. It is the chemical of motivation. It is what drives you to act. The problem is not dopamine itself. The problem is where you get it from. You can train your brain to release it for cheap thrills, or you can train it to release it for meaningful progress. You are the one who decides which behaviors to reward. Every time you focus deeply on a single task, finish a hard workout, or resist a distraction, your brain has a chance to learn a new pattern. The more you reward effort instead of escape, the stronger your discipline becomes. Start small. Choose one area of your life where you know distraction has taken control. It might be checking your phone during work, mindless eating, or jumping between tasks without finishing any. Commit to delaying that habit for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. When the urge comes, pause, breathe, notice it. Tell yourself, this is my brain asking for a cheap reward. Then shift your attention to something meaningful for those 10 minutes. When you finish that block, allow yourself a small intentional reward. A stretch, a walk, a cup of coffee. You are teaching your brain that focus and patience also lead to pleasure. Over time, those 10 minutes become 30, then 60, then entire days of calm productivity. The key is repetition. The brain learns through repetition and emotion. Every time you delay instant gratification and choose purpose instead, you reinforce a new pathway. You teach your nervous system that patience brings peace. You teach your mind that silence can be satisfying. This is not about punishment. It is not about denying yourself joy. It is about reclaiming your joy from habits that do not serve you. Pleasure is powerful when it is earned. The satisfaction that comes from mastery, from progress, from creation, is deeper and more lasting than any quick fix could ever give you. Rewiring your reward system also means learning to celebrate the right things. Do not wait for massive success to feel proud. Learn to celebrate the act of focus itself. Every time you resist a distraction, acknowledge it. Every time you finish a task without checking your phone, smile at your own progress. Every time you choose stillness over stimulation, say to yourself, "This is who I am becoming." You are not trying to become someone who never gets distracted. You are becoming someone who is aware, intentional, and in control. The celebration reinforces that identity. The brain releases dopamine, not only when you achieve, but also when you anticipate success. That is why your inner dialogue matters. Speak to yourself as someone who wins small battles every day. One powerful way to strengthen this process is through journaling. At the end of each day, write down 3 moments when you stayed focused, resisted distraction, or made progress despite discomfort. Write how it felt. Over time, your brain begins to associate effort with positive emotion. You start craving the feeling of self-control. You start noticing the quiet satisfaction of living intentionally. You stop needing external noise to feel alive. The world still tempts you, but it loses its pull because the pleasure of progress is stronger than the thrill of escape. Another important step is changing how you view boredom. Most people fear boredom because they have trained their brain to associate it with emptiness. But boredom is not emptiness. It is space. It's the mind's way of preparing for deeper thought. When you allow yourself to feel bored without rushing to fill the silence, you train your brain to tolerate stillness. That tolerance becomes strength. Boredom is the gym where focus grows. When you no longer fear it, distractions lose their weapon. Rewiring your reward system also means designing your environment to make focus easy. If you keep unhealthy rewards within reach, you will always fall back into them. Remove the temptations that feed your impulsive side. Keep your workspace clean. Place a book beside your bed instead of your phone. Create friction between yourself and distraction. The more effort it takes to reach the distraction, the less likely your brain is to chase it. At the same time, make your productive habits satisfying. Light a candle when you study. Play calm music when you write. Drink tea while you read. Bear focus with pleasant sensations so your mind begins to link work with comfort instead of stress. There will be resistance. The brain does not like change. At first you will feel restless, impatient, even irritable. That is withdrawal. Your nervous system is adjusting to a new rhythm. You are breaking cycles that have been reinforced for years. Stay patient. The discomfort is proof that the rewiring is working. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Soon you will find that focus itself feels rewarding. Deep work will no longer feel like struggle. It will feel like flow. That is when you know your brain has shifted. You will also notice emotional changes. As your brain learns to find pleasure in focus instead of distraction, your mood stabilizes. You will feel less anxious, less restless, more grounded. Quick dopamine hits create spikes and crashes. Sustained focus creates steady satisfaction. You stop chasing highs because you no longer need them. You begin to live from a state of calm fulfillment instead of constant craving. That is the ultimate freedom, to no longer be ruled by impulses that do not serve you. Rewiring your reward system is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming aware of what you feed your mind. You are training your brain like a muscle. You decide what to strengthen. Every time you choose effort over ease, presence over escape, purpose over impulse, you carve a new pathway. You create a new identity. The distracted version of you begins to fade, replaced by someone grounded, steady, powerful. The secret is consistency. One focused day changes little. One focused year changes everything. When you live intentionally, the rewards of patience multiply. You start seeing results others call luck. You start feeling peace others call impossible. You start becoming the person who no longer needs constant stimulation to feel alive. That is mastery. That is freedom. The same brain that once chased distractions can become the brain that craves focus. The same chemical that once enslaved you can be used to empower you. Dopamine is not the enemy. It is the teacher. It teaches you what to value. Teach it to value growth. Teach it to value purpose. Teach it to value peace. When your brain learns that focus feels better than chaos, you will never need to force discipline again. You will desire it. You will love it. You will live it. Chapter 5. Silence the inner noise. The loudest distractions are not in your phone, your office, or the world around you. They are in your own head. Your thoughts, your fears, your worries, and your self-criticism can be louder than any external noise. You cannot build focus if your mind is constantly shouting at you. The outer world may try to steal your attention, but the inner world decides whether you give it away. To train your brain to focus, you must first learn to quiet it. You must master the art of silence. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It is the absence of inner chaos. It is the space between thoughts where clarity lives. Most people never experience that silence because they are always thinking about the past or worrying about the future. Their minds are filled with unfinished conversations, imaginary arguments, and endless doubts. They carry noise with them everywhere. Even when they are alone, their thoughts chase them. The body is still, but the mind is restless. That restlessness is what drains your energy and weakens your focus. The first step toward mental silence is awareness. You cannot silence a storm you refuse to acknowledge. Notice the patterns of your thoughts. Notice how often your mind drifts into worry or judgment. Notice how quickly you respond to every emotional impulse. The moment you start noticing, you begin to separate yourself from the noise. You are not your thoughts. You are the one hearing them. This distinction changes everything. When you realize that thoughts are just mental weather passing through, you stop fighting them. You let them move without letting them control you. Sit quietly for a few minutes each day. No music, no phone, no conversation. Just you and your breath. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will resist. It will start shouting all the things you need to do, all the mistakes you made, all the reasons you should stop sitting still. That is the noise you have been living with. You are only now beginning to hear it clearly. Do not judge it. Do not try to stop it. Simply observe. Every time your mind wanders, bring your attention back to your breathing. Feel the air entering your body. Feel it leaving. This is not meditation for perfection. It is meditation for presence. You are teaching your mind to stay. Silencing the inner noise is a form of mental strength training. Just as your body resists a heavy weight before it grows stronger, your mind resists stillness before it learns peace. Every time you bring your focus back to the present, you are doing a mental repetition. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Soon, what once felt chaotic begins to feel calm. Your thoughts will still appear, but they will lose their power to control your emotions. You will see them as passing waves instead of storms. One of the greatest sources of inner noise is self-criticism. The voice that tells you you are not enough, not ready, not capable. That voice is not truth. It is programming. It is the echo of past failures, judgments, and comparisons you have internalized. You cannot silence it by arguing with it. You silence it by no longer believing it. When the voice says, "You cannot do this," respond internally with calm certainty. Maybe that was once true, but not anymore. The goal is not to fight the voice, but to disarm it. Over time, that voice grows quieter, replaced by one that encourages rather than condemns. Another form of inner noise comes from overthinking. The mind tries to control everything by analyzing everything. It replays old mistakes and imagines new ones. It creates endless what-if scenarios, most of which never happen. This kind of thinking does not solve problems. It multiplies them. The solution is not to think more, but to think less. Thinking less does not mean caring less. It means trusting yourself more. When you trust your preparation, your values, and your instincts, you no longer need to predict every outcome. You can act with clarity instead of anxiety. You can practice mental silence in small moments throughout the day. When you walk, just walk. When you eat, just eat. When you talk to someone, listen fully. The more you bring your attention to the present moment, the less room your mind has for unnecessary chatter. Presence is silence in motion. It is the art of doing one thing with full awareness. That is where flow begins. That is where mastery lives. Your environment also affects your inner silence. Surround yourself with spaces that invite calm. A quiet room, natural light, clean surroundings. The mind mirrors what it sees. When your environment is chaotic, your thoughts follow. When your space is peaceful, your thoughts slow down. You cannot always control your surroundings, but you can create small islands of calm within them. You can close your eyes and breathe deeply. You can choose music that relaxes you instead of stimulates you. You can decide when and how to engage with the world instead of letting the world decide for you. As you practice silence, something powerful begins to happen. You start to hear your intuition again. Beneath the noise, your inner voice is calm and wise. It does not shout, it whispers, it guides. When your mind is quiet, you can finally hear it. This is where creativity and clarity return. Great ideas rarely appear in moments of chaos. They appear in moments of stillness. The brain connects ideas more easily when it is not overloaded with noise. Silence is not emptiness. It is the space where understanding grows. Silencing the inner noise also heals emotional exhaustion. Constant mental chatter creates stress. It triggers your nervous system, releasing chemicals that keep you in a state of low-level tension. That tension drains your focus and weakens your health. When you learn to calm your thoughts, you also calm your body. Your breathing slows, your muscles relax, your heart rate steadies. This is the foundation of emotional regulation. A calm mind creates a calm life. Do not confuse silence with weakness. The quiet mind is not passive. It is powerful. It is alert without being anxious. It is patient without being lazy. When you master silence, you no longer react to every situation. You choose your responses. You stop being dragged by emotion and start being guided by awareness. The person who controls their inner world controls their entire life. At first, you may notice how noisy the world feels once you start practicing silence. Every advertisement, every conversation, every distraction will stand out more. That is good. It means your awareness is sharpening. You are beginning to see what you used to overlook. With time, the noise will stop overwhelming you because you will have created enough stillness inside to hold it. The chaos outside cannot shake the peace within. Your inner silence becomes your fortress. It becomes the ground you stand on when the world tries to pull you in every direction. When your mind is quiet, you can hear your purpose clearly. You can move with precision. You can think deeply and act decisively. That is why silence is not an escape from life. It is the preparation for living it with strength. Every day, give yourself moments to return to that silence. Before a meeting, take one deep breath. Before reacting to a message, pause for 2 seconds. Before ending your day, sit in stillness for a few minutes and let your thoughts settle. The more you honor those pauses, the more balanced your mind becomes. Silence is not the end of thought. It is the mastery of thought. It is the power to choose which thoughts deserve your attention and which ones can pass without acknowledgement. It is the reminder that beneath the noise, you are already whole. You do not need constant input to feel complete. You only need presence. From now on, do not seek peace outside yourself. Create it within. Protect it fiercely. Nurture it daily. Because when your inner world becomes quiet, your outer world begins to align. That is when focus becomes natural. That is when distractions lose their power. That is when you finally realize that silence was never the absence of something. It was the presence of everything that truly matters. Chapter 6. Train in the chaos. Focus is not built in perfect conditions. It is not developed in silence or solitude alone. Real focus is forged in the middle of noise, pressure, and distraction. It is easy to be calm when everything around you is calm. It is easy to be focused when the world is quiet. But life will not always give you quiet. The real test is whether you can stay centered when the world spins around you. You must train your brain to focus in chaos, not escape it. Because the chaos will never stop, but you can become the stillness within it. Most people wait for the perfect moment to begin. They say they will focus when things settle down, when the timing feels right, when they have more peace. That moment never comes. The world will always find a way to pull your attention. There will always be noise, deadlines, stress, and people who demand your energy. Waiting for silence is the same as waiting for permission. You cannot wait for conditions to favor you. You must build focus strong enough to rise above them. The calm you seek is not outside you. It is inside you. Training in chaos begins with awareness. You cannot fight what you do not notice. Pay attention to what triggers your distraction. It might be loud environments, interruptions, stress, or emotional discomfort. Notice how your body reacts. Your shoulders tighten. Your breathing shortens. Your mind scatters. The first step is to observe, not judge. Awareness gives you control. The moment you notice the reaction, you have already begun to separate yourself from it. The chaos is still there, but it no longer owns you. Once you see the pattern, you can begin to train. Start by exposing yourself intentionally to small distractions. Work in a slightly noisy environment. Practice focusing for a few minutes while the world around you moves. Do not resist the noise. Let it exist and let yourself exist within it. You are not trying to eliminate the noise. You are trying to remain undisturbed by it. Think of it as mental weight training. The noise is resistance. Every time you stay calm in its presence, your focus muscles grow stronger. The mind learns through exposure. If you always need silence to think, you become dependent on silence. If you only work well when everything is perfect, you become fragile. But when you train yourself to perform under pressure, you become unbreakable. The soldier does not train in comfort. The athlete does not train in stillness. The mind should be no different. Every distraction is a chance to practice composure. Every interruption is an opportunity to test your control. You cannot build focus by avoiding difficulty. You build it by facing difficulty with discipline. When chaos arrives, most people panic. They rush, they react, they lose presence. You must do the opposite. Slow down, breathe deeply. Remind yourself that chaos is only powerful when you let it speed you up. Stillness is your advantage. When everyone else is reacting, you are observing. When everyone else is anxious, you are planning. Stillness allows you to see clearly while others are blinded by motion. Calmness is not weakness. It is strategic strength. You can practice this in daily life. The next time someone tries to provoke you, do not respond immediately. Pause. Feel the emotion rise. Observe it. Breathe. That pause is power. It gives your logical mind time to lead before emotion takes over. The next time you face multiple demands, do not panic about everything at once. Choose one thing, finish it fully, then move to the next. The world will always shout, but you do not have to answer every voice. Focus is not about doing more. It is about deciding what deserves your attention. Training in chaos also means managing your energy. When the world gets loud, your nervous system becomes overstimulated. You must learn to regulate it. Use your breath as a tool. Slow breathing signals safety to your brain. Inhale deeply through your nose. Hold for a moment, then exhale slowly. Do it until your heartbeat steadies. When your body is calm, your mind follows. The breath is the bridge between chaos and control. Every conscious breath is an act of reclaiming your power. Another way to train is through visualization. Picture yourself working calmly while surrounded by noise. Imagine distractions bouncing off you instead of entering your mind. See yourself focused, confident, and composed. Visualization trains your brain before reality tests you. It strengthens the mental circuits of resilience. When the real chaos appears, your mind recognizes the pattern and stays steady. You have already rehearsed victory. The greatest performers in every field train under stress. Musicians rehearse on stage before crowds. Athletes practice under fatigue. Speakers prepare with noise in the background. They do this because they understand that excellence is not about avoiding chaos, but mastering it. You must bring that same discipline to your mind. If you can focus when life is difficult, you will dominate when it becomes easy. The more you practice, the more your relationship with chaos changes. What once felt overwhelming becomes familiar. The noise stops feeling like an enemy and becomes a training ground. You begin to see that chaos is not trying to destroy your focus. It is revealing the strength of your focus. Every challenge becomes a mirror showing you how far you have come. You start to welcome it because you know that each storm leaves you stronger than before. Training in chaos also builds emotional intelligence. It forces you to stay grounded when frustration and fear arise. It teaches you that emotion is not the enemy of focus, but a signal. When you feel irritated, it means you are losing presence. When you feel anxious, it means your mind is racing ahead. Awareness of these signals lets you reset quickly. Instead of drowning in emotion, you use it as information. You shift from reaction to response. That is emotional mastery. You will notice that as your ability to stay calm improves, your confidence grows. You will stop being intimidated by uncertainty. You will stop running from difficulty. You will stop needing control over everything to perform at your best. True confidence is not believing everything will go perfectly. It is knowing you can stay composed even when it does not. That kind of confidence can only be built in chaos. There will be moments when you fail. You will lose focus, react emotionally, or get overwhelmed. Do not see those moments as proof of weakness. See them as part of training. Every athlete falls. Every student stumbles. What matters is the recovery. Bring yourself back with patience. Each return strengthens your mental muscle. Each comeback is proof of growth. As your focus sharpens, you will begin to operate differently. You will think more clearly under stress. You will make better decisions when others panic. You will perform consistently no matter the conditions. People will wonder how you stay calm when everything around you is collapsing. The answer will be simple. You trained for it. You built your focus in the storm. You learned to find stillness where others find chaos. Remember this truth. Peace is not the absence of noise. Peace is the ability to remain undisturbed by it. The world will never stop moving, but you can stop being moved by it. The person who can stay calm in chaos can lead, create, and endure. That is who you are becoming. Train your brain daily. Embrace the noise. Use it as resistance. Use it as a reminder that every distraction is an opportunity to strengthen your focus. When you master yourself in chaos, you master yourself in life. The storms will keep coming, but they will no longer shake you. Because now, you are not reacting to the world. You are directing it. You are not running from the noise. You are walking through it with presence and power. That is the essence of focus. That is the mark of mastery. Chapter 7. Turn discipline into identity. Discipline is not a punishment. It is a form of freedom. It is not something you do when you feel like it. It is something you are. The goal is not to force yourself into action every day. The goal is to become the kind of person who acts automatically because discipline has become part of your identity. When discipline becomes who you are, you no longer rely on motivation. You no longer negotiate with excuses. You simply do what needs to be done because it is what you do. Most people think discipline is about control. They imagine it as a battle between willpower and temptation. But that is not discipline. That is resistance. Real discipline is not about fighting yourself. It is about aligning yourself. It is the quiet confidence of knowing what you stand for and living in harmony with it. The disciplined mind does not struggle with choices. It has already made them. The disciplined person does not ask, "Should I?" They act because their actions flow naturally from their identity. To make discipline your identity, you must stop seeing it as a task and start seeing it as truth. A task can be skipped. A truth cannot. If you tell yourself, "I will try to be disciplined," your mind hears a request. If you tell yourself, "I am disciplined," your mind hears a command. The brain follows the story you tell it. The words you repeat shape your self-image. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you reinforce that image. Every time you break one, you weaken it. Discipline is not built in grand gestures. It is built in small decisions, repeated consistently. Think about how you view yourself right now. When you describe who you are, what words come to mind? If you see yourself as someone who struggles to stay focused, you will continue to struggle. If you see yourself as someone who acts with intention, your behavior will begin to match that vision. Identity creates behavior, not the other way around. You must decide who you are before your actions can follow. Ask yourself, who am I when no one is watching? That is where discipline begins. Start by creating identity statements that reflect who you want to be. Say to yourself, "I am someone who finishes what I start. I am someone who does not depend on motivation. I am someone who protects my focus." Repeat these truths daily until they become part of your language. The mind believes what it hears most often. Every repetition plants a seed. Over time, those seeds grow into certainty. Certainty grows into behavior. Behavior becomes identity. To reinforce this identity, build small, non-negotiable habits. These are simple, consistent actions that remind your brain of who you are. They could be waking up at the same time each morning, making your bed, exercising for 10 minutes, reading a few pages of a book, or writing down your daily priorities. These habits do not seem important in isolation, but together they build structure. They prove to your subconscious that you are reliable. When you keep your word to yourself, you build trust. That trust is the foundation of self-respect. Discipline becomes easier when it feels personal. You cannot maintain habits that do not align with your values. Find your why. Why do you want to be focused? Why do you want control over your mind? Why does it matter? Your reason must be stronger than your comfort. When your why is clear, your actions become automatic. You stop asking whether it is worth it because you already know the answer. The disciplined person does not seek permission to act. They act because they have a mission. It is also important to remove identity contradictions. You cannot become disciplined if you still identify with undisciplined behaviors. Stop saying, "I am lazy." Stop saying, "I am bad at consistency." Stop labeling yourself as someone who always quits. Every time you speak that identity, you reinforce it. The brain does not argue. It accepts. Replace those old narratives with powerful truths. Speak life into the version of yourself you are becoming. Even if it does not feel true yet, act as if it is. Behavior shapes belief. When you live with discipline, you begin to experience peace. People think discipline is restrictive, but it actually removes chaos. It eliminates decision fatigue. You no longer waste time debating whether to act. You no longer drain energy on procrastination or regret. The path becomes clear. The noise fades. You become efficient not because you are forcing yourself, but because your choices are aligned with your identity. You are no longer at war with yourself. You have found harmony between your values and your behavior. This transformation does not happen overnight. You must practice it daily. Each day is a chance to cast a vote for the kind of person you want to be. When you act with discipline, you are casting a vote for strength. When you act with distraction, you are casting a vote for weakness. You will never be perfect, but consistency wins elections. You do not need to win every vote. You just need to win most of them. You can also strengthen your identity through accountability. Tell someone you trust about your goals. Share your progress. Surround yourself with people who live with purpose. Identity grows through community. When you associate with disciplined people, their energy reinforces your own. You rise to the level of the environment you keep. Do not underestimate the power of association. The people around you can either support your focus or sabotage it. Choose wisely. Embrace the discomfort that comes with discipline. The pain of self-control is temporary, but the pride it builds lasts forever. Each time you resist the urge to quit, you are proving to yourself that you are stronger than you think. Each time you stay committed when no one is watching, you are carving your character. The body adapts through resistance, and so does the mind. Discipline is the resistance that builds emotional muscle. There will be days when you feel tired, uninspired, or unmotivated. Those are the most important days. Those are the days when you define your identity. Anyone can act when they feel good. The disciplined person acts regardless of feeling. Those moments of fatigue are opportunities to remind yourself who you are. When you act without emotion, you build power. When you rely only on emotion, you lose it. The secret to making discipline your identity is to find joy in the process. Discipline is not about deprivation. It is about direction. You are not saying no to everything. You are saying yes to what matters most. You're not restricting your freedom. You are refining it. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You begin to take pride in your focus. You begin to enjoy the quiet satisfaction of staying consistent. That satisfaction is deeper than any fleeting pleasure. It is the feeling of alignment between who you are and what you do. Eventually, you will stop thinking about discipline as effort. It will become instinct. You will wake up and act with purpose because it is who you are. The temptation to drift will still appear, but it will no longer hold power. You will not need to fight it because it will not fit your identity. You have become someone else, someone who chooses strength over weakness, clarity over confusion, purpose over comfort. Discipline is not something you chase. It is something you claim. It is already inside you, waiting to be expressed. Every moment of commitment, every small decision, every victory over distractions strengthens it. The more you honor your word, the more unshakable you become. Discipline is not the chains that hold you. It is the key that frees you. From this point forward, stop trying to be disciplined and start being disciplined. Live as if you already are. Speak it, practice it. Embody it, because when discipline becomes your identity, focus is no longer a struggle. It becomes your nature. It becomes your truth. It becomes the foundation of everything you will achieve from this moment on. Chapter 9. Master the art of mental reset. Your brain is a powerful instrument, but even the finest instruments must be tuned. Focus is not something you maintain endlessly. It is something you renew. No matter how disciplined you are, your mind will eventually fatigue. Mental fatigue is not a sign of weakness. It is a natural signal that your attention reserves are low. The most productive people in the world are not those who work without stopping, but those who master the art of resetting. They know when to push, when to pause, and when to recharge. Without renewal, focus turns into frustration, and effort becomes exhaustion. The modern world has tricked many into believing that rest is laziness. It glorifies hustle while shaming recovery. But your brain does not grow stronger through endless strain. It grows stronger through cycles of focus and rest. Every muscle needs recovery to build endurance, and the same is true for your attention. If you push beyond your limits for too long, your concentration declines, your creativity fades, and your patience disappears. The solution is not more effort, it is smarter effort. It is learning how to reset your mind before burnout begins. The first step to mastering the mental reset is awareness. Notice the signs of cognitive fatigue. You start rereading the same sentence without comprehension. You jump between tasks without finishing. You lose patience easily. Your motivation drops. These are not signs that you are failing. They are messages from your brain saying, "I need space." Most people ignore these signals, forcing their minds to keep grinding, but this only deepens the fog. When your focus fades, your returns diminish. A tired brain cannot think clearly. Rest is not a reward, it is a responsibility. A mental reset can happen in small ways throughout the day. You do not need a vacation to refresh your mind. Sometimes all it takes is a few intentional minutes. One of the simplest and most powerful methods is deep breathing. When you close your eyes and take slow, conscious breaths, you signal safety to your nervous system. Your stress hormones lower, your heart rate slows, and your brain regains clarity. Just 60 seconds of focused breathing can reset your mental state. Try it between tasks, before meetings, or any time you feel your focus slipping. Another form of reset is movement. The mind and body are deeply connected. When your body is stagnant for too long, your mental energy drains. Stand up, stretch, walk outside, or do a few minutes of light exercise. Physical movement increases blood flow to the brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients that restore alertness. Many breakthroughs in thinking happen during walks, not while staring at a screen. Movement loosens the grip of mental tension and gives your thoughts room to breathe. Nature is another powerful reset. Step outside, feel the sunlight, listen to the wind, observe something alive. The human brain evolved in nature, not in artificial light. Even a few minutes outdoors can restore balance to your attention. The color green has been shown to reduce mental fatigue and improve focus. If you cannot go outside, bring nature to you. A plant on your desk, natural light through your window, or sounds of water and birds. These small touches remind your nervous system of calm. Mental resets also happen through mindful detachment. This means allowing yourself to step away from constant thinking. You do not have to solve every problem right now. You do not have to hold every worry in your head. Sometimes the best way to move forward is to let go for a moment. Close the laptop, Put the phone away. Allow yourself to be unproductive without guilt. True productivity includes intentional pauses. The pause is where perspective returns. The pause is where creativity is born. To make resetting part of your daily rhythm, build recovery rituals. A ritual is more than a habit. It carries meaning. It tells your brain it is time to reset. It could be making tea, journaling for 5 minutes, listening to instrumental music, or taking a short walk after deep work. The activity itself matters less than the intention behind it. When repeated consistently, your brain begins to associate these rituals with renewal. It learns that focus will always be followed by rest, and rest will lead to better focus. Sleep is the ultimate reset. No amount of discipline can replace what happens in deep sleep. During sleep, your brain clears toxins, repairs connections, and consolidates memory. When you sacrifice sleep, you borrow energy from tomorrow that you will not get back. Chronic sleep deprivation mimics the effects of intoxication. You become slower, less creative, and more impulsive. A focused mind begins with a rested body. Make sleep sacred. Create a nighttime routine that signals closure. Dim the lights, avoid screens, reflect in gratitude, and allow your mind to release the day. Emotional resets are equally important. Sometimes the mind is not tired because of effort, but because of emotion. Stress, anger, and anxiety drain energy even when you are not working. To reset emotionally, practice letting go of what you cannot control. Write your worries down and set them aside. Speak kindly to yourself. Talk to someone who listens. Emotional release clears mental space. Holding on to unprocessed feelings is like keeping dozens of tabs open in your mind. Closing them brings relief and clarity. Mental resets also come from change of environment. Working in the same space every day can trap your mind in monotony. Move to a different room, rearrange your desk, or work from a cafe for a few hours. A small shift in surroundings can reignite attention. The brain thrives on novelty when it is intentional, not constant. You are not escaping work, you are refreshing your perspective. Another advanced form of mental reset is reflection. At the end of each day, spend a few minutes reviewing what you accomplished and what you learned. Do not focus on what went wrong, focus on what you can improve. This reflection separates one day from the next. It prevents yesterday's stress from leaking into tomorrow. It clears your mental canvas so that each morning begins fresh. When you integrate resets into your life, you begin to operate from stability instead of survival. You no longer run on empty or chase motivation. Your mind becomes like a wave, rising in focus, resting in calm, then rising again. The energy feels balanced and sustainable. You stop burning out because you have learned to breathe between efforts. That rhythm is what separates the burned out from the brilliant. Mastering the art of mental reset also teaches humility. It reminds you that you are not a machine. You are a human being with limits that deserve respect. Rest is not the opposite of progress. It is part of progress. You cannot reach your potential if you keep running from exhaustion to exhaustion. You reach it by honoring the cycle of effort and renewal. Each reset gives your mind the strength to rise again sharper, calmer, and more creative. There will be moments when you forget to reset. You will push too hard, feel drained, and lose clarity. When that happens, forgive yourself and start again. Take one deep breath, step away for 5 minutes, begin anew. The beauty of the mind is that it always responds to kindness faster than to force. The more compassion you show yourself, the easier it becomes to recover. The disciplined mind is not the one that never tires. It is the one that knows how to recharge. The focused person is not the one who never wavers. It is the one who returns quickly. Mastering the art of mental reset is how you sustain excellence without losing balance. It is how you stay clear, creative, and calm in a world that never stops moving. From now on, treat your mind with respect. Give it breaks. Give it stillness. Give it time to renew. Because a rested mind is a powerful mind, and a powerful mind can do extraordinary things. Every time you reset, you are not slowing down. You are preparing to move forward with greater strength, deeper focus, and lasting peace. Chapter 10. Become unshakable. The ultimate goal of training your brain to ignore distractions is not just focus. It is inner strength. It is becoming unshakable. When you master your mind, the world cannot control you. When you master your emotions, chaos loses its grip. The unshakable person is not free from challenge or stress, but they respond to it with calm precision. They do not crumble under pressure. They do not chase validation. They move through life with quiet confidence, knowing that nothing external has the power to disturb their internal peace. This is the final stage of focus. It is no longer about what you do. It is about who you are. Becoming unshakable begins with acceptance. You cannot control everything that happens around you, but you can always control how you respond. Most people waste their energy fighting reality. They get frustrated when things go wrong, when people disappoint them, when outcomes differ from their expectations. But life will never be perfectly aligned with your plans. The unshakable person understands this truth deeply. They accept what is, adapt quickly, and act decisively. Acceptance is not weakness. It is the recognition that control begins within. When you stop fighting what you cannot change, you regain power over what you can. The next pillar of unshakable focus is emotional control. Your emotions are powerful teachers, but if left unchecked, they can become your greatest distractions. Anger blinds clarity, fear paralyzes action, worry consumes energy. You cannot stop emotions from arising, but you can decide what to do with them. When you feel overwhelmed, pause and breathe. Do not let the first emotion dictate the next decision. Create space between feeling and action. That space is where wisdom lives. The calm person is not one who never feels anger or fear. They are the one who does not let anger or fear drive the wheel. Emotional control is built through awareness. Notice how emotions rise in your body. Notice the tension in your chest, the speed of your breath, the tone of your thoughts. These signals arrive before reaction. Awareness allows interception. When you feel anxiety building, do not suppress it. Observe it like a wave. Let it move through you without resistance. The wave passes faster when you do not fight it. You are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. Every emotion that arises is temporary. The unshakable person remembers this truth and acts from patience instead of panic. The mind becomes stronger through adversity. Every challenge you face is a test of your inner foundation. Most people fear difficulty, but the unshakable person welcomes it. They see adversity as training. Every obstacle is an opportunity to practice composure. Every setback is a classroom for resilience. You cannot build strength without resistance. You cannot build patience without delay. You cannot build focus without distraction. The next time life throws something at you, say to yourself, "This is practice." By reframing challenge as training, you remove its power to intimidate. Being unshakable also means being grounded in purpose. Without purpose, focus has no anchor. You will be blown by every distraction, every opinion, every emotion. But when you have a clear sense of why you do what you do, you become immovable. Purpose gives weight to your actions. It turns obstacles into lessons and pain into fuel. Ask yourself, what am I here to build? What impact do I want to leave? When your life has direction, your energy has structure. You stop reacting to noise because you are guided by meaning. Another essential aspect of becoming unshakable is detachment from validation. The moment you depend on external approval, you give away your power. The world's opinions change daily. If your worth depends on how others see you, your peace will rise and fall with their moods. True strength is internal validation. It is knowing you are enough without applause. It is doing what is right even when no one notices. The unshakable mind does not need to prove itself. It simply lives in alignment with its values. Approval becomes irrelevant when integrity becomes your compass. Stillness is the weapon of the unshakable person. When others rush to react, they pause. When others panic, they breathe. Stillness does not mean inactivity. It means mastery of response. It means being deliberate instead of impulsive. In a world that worships urgency, stillness is rebellion. It allows you to see clearly while others are blinded by motion. Every decision you make from stillness carries power. Every action born from calm carries precision. To cultivate stillness, create moments of solitude each day. Silence the noise. Disconnect from screens, conversations, and constant stimulation. Sit quietly with your thoughts until they settle. At first, your mind will resist. It will fill the silence with worries and to-do lists. Stay with it. The mind that learns to rest in stillness becomes impenetrable. You will begin to notice how much peace you can feel without needing anything external. That peace is your anchor in a turbulent world. Gratitude is another tool that strengthens unshakable focus. The mind cannot hold gratitude and fear at the same time. When you feel lost or stressed, pause and name 3 things you are grateful for. It shifts your attention from scarcity to abundance, from chaos to calm. Gratitude reminds you that even in uncertainty, you still have control over perspective. The unshakable person finds peace not because life is perfect, but because they see the beauty that remains, even when things go wrong. Forgiveness is also part of inner strength. Holding grudges consumes energy that could be spent creating or growing. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. The unshakable person lets go because they value their peace more than their pride. Each time you forgive, you reclaim a piece of your power. The unshakable mind also lives with detachment from outcomes. You give your best effort, but release the need to control results. When you tie your peace to outcomes, you make it fragile. But when you tie it to effort and intention, it becomes indestructible. The only thing you can fully control is how you show up. Give everything, expect nothing, and trust that whatever happens will serve your growth. This is not surrender. It is strength. It is the quiet confidence that no matter what comes, you will handle it with grace. Becoming unshakable does not mean becoming emotionless. It means becoming deeply stable. You still feel, but you do not drown. You still care, but you do not cling. You still face storms, but you do not get lost in them. Your mind becomes like a deep ocean. Waves may rise on the surface, but the depths remain calm. That depth is what gives you power. People will wonder how you stay steady when everything around you shakes. The answer will be simple. You have trained your mind. You have built a foundation of focus, awareness, and self-control. The unshakable life is not free of pressure. It simply transforms pressure into growth. It uses every experience, joy and pain alike, as fuel for evolution. Each challenge becomes a step toward mastery. Each distraction becomes a chance to practice awareness. Each failure becomes a lesson in resilience. Over time, you realize that nothing can truly defeat you unless you let it. This is the highest level of mental discipline, to live with peace in the middle of noise, to stay centered in the middle of chaos, to stay clear when the world grows cloudy. You have trained your brain to focus, to rest, to reset, and to rise. Now you train it to remain unshakable. This is not an ending. It is a beginning. It is the start of a life where distractions no longer rule you, emotions no longer control you, and fear no longer limits you. When you reach this level, your presence itself becomes power. You will not need to speak loudly to command respect. You will not need to rush to feel accomplished. Your calm will influence others. Your stillness will create movement. The world will still test you, but it will never break you, because your peace no longer depends on circumstances. It comes from within. Becoming unshakable is the true reward of mastering focus. It is the freedom to live deliberately, to move with clarity, to act with strength. It is knowing that you can face anything and still remain whole. From this point forward, do not strive to avoid the storms. Strive to become the calm that walks through them. That is the essence of power. That is the mark of true mastery. That is the mind that no distraction can touch.